broadcasting. So the floor is yours, Ana, Beatriz.
Okay, thank you, Sabrina. Welcome back, everybody. I could notice there was some intense discussion there, which is quite pleasing to know. So now let's hear our moderators to know what conclusions, what answers, what insights we had in the rooms. So in room number 1, we had Silvana and Lygia, right? So could you give us the results there to room 1?
Sure. Yeah. So I was turning on my microphone. Well, so far I understood the context. So one of the, issues brought in that room was better differentiation between capacities and vulnerabilities. So it's one thing that came up from our group. The other one, for example, there is no capacity again. So it's necessary capacities to help migrants, but also they came with capacities to provide documentation for the migrants. Mainly women, for example, also helping them to to find financial opportunities and other things that you already know. Other one, hold on, so I have to put a little bit here, sorry. Other guide was, it's very difficult to get attention from the government. What should we create? We should create an agenda taking account on gender and their vulnerabilities, because there are many countries like they are working on some legislation, but it's still complicated to call attention for the government for the situation of the woman. Like Dana, that was with us, and I want to say that she said they need to increase investment in gender issues and more support on women organizations. What is we have different here?
So Lygia, if you could share the needle, because it's very interesting. I see here that we chose to use the platform as to right after the event, we're going to engage each one of the discussions into the other, so that we can provide advocacy, provide the ideas, the general ideas to the next event, which is next Wednesday.
So I share, right? So I share now. Board team, copy invite link. That's it.
Yeah, I think you should.
If you can share a screen, if you prefer, I can share mine.
Okay. So I share on the here. I'm sorry. Okay, share screen. Sorry. This, it's okay. Is everybody?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So hold on, just to.
Maybe you could diminish the Zoom.
Yeah.
And then
I do that.
We are using a unique platform, so everybody to know, we are using a unique platform. So right in the bottom there is the other groups insights, and then in the top the Lygia's and Silvana's.
Can you see?
Yes.
Okay, everybody?
Yes.
All right. So for the last one, that Yuja from China, she explained it. She came with this very good example about the organization about refugee in Lebanon, that they decided to invite this leader from this from this community from Lebanon, and she gave some. They gave her some technical context, so she was able to share with her community some points that could help them to overcome the situation. So a key person in the community could be like a good way to help the government, to help the organization, to help the women to overcome, their problems in this process of migration. So we have the other points, but I already commented those. If you want, so can you?
Thank you, Lygia. Thank
you. It's fine. Silvana, would you like to add something, or is it good for you?
Yeah, it's good for me. But in fact, I will emphasize one point that was clear for us in our meeting room. That was civil society, NGOs, doesn't do nothing without the coordination or the cooperation with the governmental actors or agents. So these interrelations need to be reinforced. The channels of communications need to be reinforced. So that was pretty clear to me. And most of that, the decision makers in the policy arena need to listen what the floor is asking, is telling, the suggestions. So sometimes NGOs, sometimes civil society have the solution, but the policymakers doesn't listen to the solution. That sometimes is one point that for me was clear from our room, but as well from my field where as I live in the Uruguayan and Brazilian borders, is what I see here as well. And we can connect everything that we were discussing in our meeting room with these ideas. We need to cooperate. We need to better coordinate our dialogue.
Good, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that it?
No, that's it. That's it.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. So in short, we have important points here: capacity, a liaison person, to be very brief about what all of you, all that you said. So capacity, a liaison person, and the importance of communication between governmental actors and the other stakeholders, right? Okay, so let's move to room 2. Carolina and Flavia, would you like to jump in, please?
Hi, hello. Carol will show us the post-its, but just to say that after all those interesting and rich panels we heard today, the group 2 also talked about the difficulties of the coordination between government and the other groups, of course, private groups and different organizations, NGOs, but they brought some very practical, at least we tried to talk about it, very practical solutions. So Carolina will be showing to you the post-its with these solutions.
Thank you, Flavia. Thank you, Ana Beatriz. So just so our audience understands the architecture here, each column is a type of action. And we had, first of all, the suggestion of training of workers of human rights. But the same participants that suggested this also specified this training in 2 types. One, in a more practical way, teaching people what are their human rights, and another one in a more theoretical pattern, trying to make people conscious or make people more sensitive about the human rights team. So 2 types of different training related to practitioners, to workers of the human rights fight. A second action discussed was about the need of having the NGO advocacy more valued in a national dimension. And we also had examples about this, more specified example, translated in the measure of NGO participating in policy-making strategies. So these two actions are here with different colors because they were said by different participants. Each color here is an action of a different participant. And as I said in our breakout session, this is important to us because it's interesting to do the connection between the actions that were discussed. That's why I'm here highlighting that these things were said by different people. So another participant specified the action of a national NGO advocacy through the example of policy-making strategy, the participation in policy-making strategies. So a third aspect discusses was the roles of each agency. I mean, the need of being very specified, being very determinant. What are the roles of each agency working in an operation? A fourth action that is here doubled. It's appearing in a double form. It's the need to translate protocols to local language, as we use to say, to be on the same page. It's not worth to have a lot of protocols if people that are going to be affected and working in this area are not going to understand in the same way. So this was suggested by one participant and supported by another. That's why we had it twice here. Another interesting action suggested was about safe places to speak, in the sense that people have to feel safe to pronounce themselves, to improve the operations, the protocols, the work that is being done. And another participant specified this action, suggesting integrated forms, for example, forms or forums that can have, as we are talking about this team here today, a women forum, for example, that can make women feel more comfortable to speak, to pronounce themselves about this type of actions and all the discussion we are having here. And last but not least, using efficient measures known to do this improvement of interagency cooperation. And an example would be the use of forms that are going to present to the whole agents that are working together what are the current actors dealing with this operation and what is the state of part, what is the situation of the whole discussion. So those were the main actions we could map in our breakout sessions. And I'm taking this opportunity to say that we couldn't do a final word at the breakout session because we already came back here to the main session, but we were able to register all the ideas that were discussed. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolina. I'm sorry for that. But we are really
my fault.
We're running short of time now, but there are interesting insights here. I can see two issues that haven't been addressed yet, like the importance of translation into the local language, which is maybe disregarded most of the time, and also the issue of trust, building trust that is and having being able to not only give voice to the people, but so that the people are confident to speak, right? So now let's make our final remarks so that we can close this session. I'll give the final words to the panelists again, so that they can, I'm sorry, Carolina, if you can keep your screen on and zoom out so that the panelists can see both remarks, so both boards.
I've just organized it so you can, they're very close to each other.
Yeah.
So I've just organized it.
Just to keep it there so that they can, as some hints.
So if you can put both for us to see both, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, well, it's hard to read.
No, anyway. It's okay. Anyway, I think if everyone can just make a zoom.
Yeah,
just a second.
The link is in the chat box if you want to zoom in and be able to read it closely. So Pichamon, Dana, Adriana, and Anna, would you like to make to share with us your impressions and remarks about what have been discussed today, and especially the results from the rooms activity? I'll give the words to Adriana first, because of the alphabetical order again, just to have a criteria.
Hi. Well, first of all, I apologize. I couldn't be present in the breakout sessions because my kids are home. But from what I heard, it looks very complete, and I think the groups managed to think about the agency of different actors and also different levels of action and normative action, but also planning. So it looks very complete. I was thinking one item that I didn't quite see on the posts is South-South cooperation. I think that's a really interesting space for us to think about solutions as well. And that can be, of course, state-centric, but it can also involve NGOs, private sector actors, and network of specialists that exist in these regions. Thank you. Anna, I think you're on mute.
I'm sorry. Ana Luisa, would you like to
Sure. I was following the discussions in the group 1, and there was one point that called up my attention, that was the two axes of decision making. So we have one which is when we are thinking about agencies and the governance and all the structure of decision making. So we have the government and the agents. These interactions should be considered, especially because we do have some debates for decades on gender and migration, especially in Latin America. But when we look at the public policies, they are not so developed as the debates. And we also have the ground level, the practical level, when we are talking about the interaction of the agencies. So we do believe that it's important to balance these two axes to make this agenda and make the humanitarian operations work better. So that was the point I would like to stress.
in the final remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ana Luisa. Now, Dana Romero, please.
I also would like to share one idea related to the different levels of capacities in the region in terms of the governments. So what we have is different legal frameworks which protect migrant and refugee women and girls' rights. And also I was thinking about the field level because of the experience shared in our group, but also thinking of how to move or how to promote more political and economic resources allocated to address this particular needs, and also to promote gender equality programming in response to people on the move or in the human mobility situation.
Thank you again, Dana. Pichamon, please.
Really, I think it's great to see all of these ideas. I'm seeing really great kind of interesting ones about the characterization of women. And again, I think it's the challenge at the end of the day is how can we actually transform all of these great ideas into actual practice, but also how we can kind of find the good examples of these ideas in practice and to leverage those in other contexts as well. So I don't think there is much more for me to add beyond that, but to just simply thank all of the other panelists, but also all of the attendees here for sharing your ideas, but also really feeding into many of the questions and the issues that we've been discussing and which I'm sure we will continue to discuss after this.
Thank you very much. And so thank you to all of you again. We hope to see you back here next Wednesday. We are getting to a close now. And Sabrina, would you like to add something else before we got to a close? We're running 10 minutes late.
Yeah, and just to say to everybody, well, especially in special to the panelists that you know promoted this field of insightful ideas for us today, and for sure we're going to be back to them with the results we could gather, and also till the end of the whole event, which is going to end up just after the 5th of May. We're going to offer all the not only the panelists, but the audience report on the outcomes that we've reached. And so again, thank you because of your engagement and all your work being offered to us today. So again, nice to see you today, and you all invited to the 5th of May to engage not only in Zoom, but also in the YouTube channel. So
goodbye, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you to all your participation. Bye.
Bye.
See you next Wednesday.
See you.
Thank you.